Hey guys, welcome back to Adventure Camping. Tactical Nut here, and like I had mentioned in another video, it is time for my review of the SOG Seal Strike. So stay tuned, I've got a lot to say about this that I think you're really going to want to hear. Alright guys, let's dive on in and let's start with the specs like I always do. First, we're just going to talk about the knife. You've got a 4.9 inch blade, weighs 5.6 ounces with the Aus-8 steel and Rockwell hardness of 56 to 58. Black tie-dye coating, as you can see here, made in Taiwan. It's got a glass breaker, pommel on the bottom, generous lanyard hole. Handle scales made out of a glass reinforced nylon with stainless steel. Finger grooves here, as you can see. It is partially serrated. That is the only way that it comes, with some very aggressive jimping. And as you can see here, the handle does act as a really good finger guard. Getting just over that, you can see here. Now this jimping, I'm just going to go ahead and say right out of the gate, very aggressive. Very aggressive for bare hands. Clip point design, I don't know if I just said that. Hollow grind. Now for the sheath, got basically a plastic sheath, a hard molded nylon. This is the deluxe version, so here's your belt clip. Works really well. As you can see here, it's got this silver piece with a little SOG logo, but what it does is it will move down to expose some of the blade so you can use it to cut cordage. Right here you have a little carbide sharpener that will basically put a basic working edge back on a knife if you need it to be resharpened. But I mean, you're not going to be shaving paper or doing tiny feather sticks with it after you've used it, but it will put a working edge back on it. Right here you have a ferro rod that you could use to potentially get a fire started if you needed to in an emergency. You got a bunch of holes here for different attachment points to a pack, straps, anything like that. But here's the crazy thing. If you know me, you know the channel, you know I don't really like serrations on knives. I believe and have experienced throughout my entire knife using life that if your blade is adequately sharp, it will cut through all the cordage that you need. It will cut through anything that you need. And so to me, putting serrations, especially on a fixed blade, is just losing a lot of useful real estate for a lot of other tasks that you could use it for. But when I got this knife, I was really excited to get it because I was seeing a ton of great reviews on YouTube for it. I bought it from Swiss Army Zippo because he decided he was getting out of doing YouTube and was getting rid of some of his gear and hadn't used this yet, and so I jumped on it. I was just like, you know what, dude, I'm in. But just to show you how unusual, or what kind of confused me about this knife and this sheath, is this right here. Now, if you're going to put serrations on a blade, you're going to put them there because it's supposed to cut cordage quicker, right? I mean, you can also use it to do feather sticks or get little shavings off of wood, and it does do really well for that. But mostly people do it because it cuts cordage faster. Well, when you pull this down, it only exposes the plain edge of the blade. It doesn't actually expose what you would assume that it would expose, which is the blade serrations. So I really thought that was odd. I mean, it still cuts cordage really easily. As long as you're keeping it adequately sharp, it's going to cut cordage very quickly. That was just really surprising. I mean, I just didn't get it, but that was just me. As you can see, blade coating does come off just like on every other knife that you will ever own. Although it mostly just comes off right at the beginning of this bevel right here on either side. The rest of it does hold up extremely well. It is Aus-8, so it is fairly corrosion resistant, which is nice in and of itself. This shape right here, I do like because you can get up on it and use it as like a perfect little placement for a lot of fine detail work. Now, that's a lot of good things to say about a knife, right? It has a great blade length, great blade width, right? It's made out of Aussie, which is a good steel, good rust resistant, holds a good edge. The pommel, used for striking anything that you need to in either a non-defensive measure, right? Or a non-lethal manner, or for crushing up stuff while you're out in the woods, smashing cordage, acorns, whatever it is that you need to smash. Generous lanyard hole. If you're the type of person that likes lanyards, you could fit paracord and other various substances or other types of cordage through there. The sheath, overall, pretty good, right? I mean, it's not Kydex, but it's extremely durable. Fits any belt size. It does have the little attachment, so you don't have to take the knife out of the sheath, so you can cut cordage. That's a win. A crude but somewhat usable knife sharpener, and fire steel that throws tiny amounts of sparks. It's not awesome, but could work in a pinch, especially if you had some other type of fire accelerant like cotton balls and Vaseline, tender quick wet fire, something like that. That would pretty much be all you would need. But complaints about this knife. First major one is with the finger grooves that are on here, and I usually don't mind this finger groove, but this one has one kind of designed for each finger, and for me, my fingers, the way they fall, is almost on top of every lump, right? So if you're using this knife barehanded, that's 3 hot spots right there, right out of the gate. Hurts to use if you're getting a good strong grip on it. Another thing, you see how aggressive this texturing is? Now, if you're using this as a fighting knife, that's awesome. This thing is not going to slide in your hands. If you're using this for camping, hiking, bushcrafting, outdoor use, stuff like that, and you're going to be holding it, processing wood for an extended period of time, it just digs into your hand. This stainless steel right here, it looks really nice. It makes the handle look really cool. It digs into your hand as well. Now, it does have little tiny like torque screws. Maybe you can see there. So it can be taken off, but when I test and review knives, I test and review them as they come. I do not modify them at all because I want to see how the factory production of it works the way they intended it to work. Well, in my opinion, that hurts, right? It's not fun to use. You have to wear gloves. So if you forgot your gloves, your hands are going to hurt after a while of using it. It will do feather sticks really well. It cuts most things really well. It was really crappy at batoning. Especially if you're using any kind of harder wood. I mean, when I went out to visit my brother, you saw the video where I went down to Connie Maxwell, was out hanging with him. We camped out that night. I was beating the crap out of this thing to get it through some logs, and it was freshly cut oak that they had a huge pile of, and I mean, it'd get through it, but it required a ton of work. And now I've had this for a long time. I got this last fall. I put it through a ton, and every time I had to baton, it will split the wood. It will. Not going to say it doesn't. I'm just saying it's a lot of work to get it done. Not ideal to me in any situation. Even if you're out just camping, in your car camping, or you didn't have to hike too far to your campsite, you don't want to have to wear yourself out beating the crap out of your knife just to get it to baton those logs into smaller ones for useful campfires, right? Now if you're carrying a saw or something like that, it's not that big a deal because you use the saw, but for batoning purposes, not outstanding at all. Not in my experience. I mean, I tried batoning through everything. It didn't sail through anything. Like, it was just not a winner in that category at all. Now, like I said, using it for fine detail work, great. You know, this little thing just locks that finger right in there, and you can really get in and do some nice cutting for a lot of things. But man, I mean, here's what I'm saying. Now the knife will take the abuse. I beat the crap out of it, right? Because you had to get it through the logs. So it's tough as nails, right? It's quality built construction. It's a good steel. there's just a couple of things about it that just I didn't love, right? The handle's just not comfortable without gloves. It's not really at all. If your hands fit perfectly into each one of these, and I can hold it like this, it's still okay. But this part right here is so aggressive, it's still digging into your hand. It's really gonna dig in. And so will this stainless steel piece. Now, what I may do, just to give it a try, is now that I've done testing and reviewing it for all of its intents and purposes as how it was designed, I may take these stainless steel things off and then sand down these edges right here. Now if I can smooth this out and it's comfortable to use without gloves, there still may be some like real saving graces and a lot of uses for it, but for right now I would put this in the category of into a fighting knife. If you were military, this may be a really good option. It's a lot of utility tasks that it can do. And it is lightweight. You know, 5.6 ounces is a really good weight. So definitely not going to chop, but feather sticking, carving, processing wood to the most part, it'll get it done. Just think of the baton awesome. So just keep that in mind. The sheath is good. It just confuses me as to why you would put serrations on a blade and then put the cord cutting exposure point on the plain edge. Why? I don't know. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, quality built knife. Just has a couple of aspects about it that just is not a winner for me, right? I usually don't put ratings on knives as far as, you know, 4 out of 5 stars or something like that. I just look at it as whether you should buy it or whether you shouldn't. This one I will put into the category kind of up to you because it'll depend on your intended purpose for it. Fighting knife, yeah, it could work awesome, right? Just like a lot of other ones, it's lightweight enough, it's a good enough size that you could use it defensively, offensively if you needed to, and it'll get a lot of utility tasks done around a campsite or you know, biovac area, wherever you're set up as a military unit. But as far as a camp knife, I'm saying it's not awesome for it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying you can't get the job done. I'm just saying it's not going to be a rock star for doing that. The prices on it, well, they vary kind of greatly. I was just looking on Amazon a little bit ago, mostly around the $75 price point for this type of configuration and setup. On SOG's website, it's like $127. $75? Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Good, solid built quality constructory, but with this current handle setup, it's just not awesome to use. So I would have to personally modify this. And if you're willing to say, okay, I'm willing to spend that kind of money on a knife and modify it, it'd be worth it. You know, you just got to know the basic real limitation of this blade is batoning. Everything else is fine. It's just not awesome at batoning. So hopefully, I haven't confused you too much, but hopefully this will help you in your purchasing decisions. I'm sorry I couldn't demo it. The doctor's just not allowing me to do the strenuous activity, so I had to kind of do this as a tabletop because I have to move on. I've got a couple more knives that need to start the testing and review process, and I've had this since the fall so I could put it through as much as possible because I test my fixed blades over a very long period of time to see how they hold up over a long period of time and not just a couple uses. You'll never see me open up a fixed blade, use it, and then say I think I'm going to call it good for long-term use. I'm not going to do that. I want to see what it looks like over real long-term use. Alright guys, hope this helps you in the future. I will put a link down at Amazon to the best price I can find for it in case you want to try it out for yourself. I will do an update video after I remove these scales and sand this down and let you know if that improved at least the comfort level of the handle. But until then, be prepared, have fun.